relationship stress or even the physical stress that they're putting on their body through kind of excessive exercise or restrictive diets.
No, it's interesting you said that, because I was interviewing a female founder a few weeks ago, and she regularly kind of promotes how much exercise she does to her audience each morning. And every day she gets up at the crack of dawn and goes straight into like a high intensity workout, and then works like 15-16 hours afterwards. And she was getting really ill. She had a cold, but a really heavy cold that just wasn't shifting for about 3 months, and then went and checked in with her doctor, and basically he said, well, are you exercising? And she proudly said, yes, I exercise every single day and I do X, Y, Z. And he said, well, that's the issue. Like, your body, that's such high intense workouts that your body can't distinguish between good adrenaline and bad adrenaline. And it just sees like stress. It just sees like 17, 18 hours of constant stress. And you can't cope with it. That's why your body's, and it's so interesting. Like, to me that was just a given, but that some people like don't connect those dots. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that's really interesting, because it's kind of a syndrome of, this high intensity culture that we live in. And you'll know this through interviewing female entrepreneurs, this go, 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 and this idea that we need to be on all the time. And it's kind of, we need to behave like men and be on all the time, when actually our bodies don't work like that. Yeah,
no, definitely. It's so true. Like, if there's, don't get me wrong, there's times where I notice I'm working harder than sometimes, but they're the times where I really notice that everything, my energy's dipping, and that's when I'm like, whoa, step back, just take the night off, like, look after yourself, run a bath, just chill. So sleep in, don't work out the next day, just like give yourself that time. But I do get it. It's so easier said than done. I do feel really lucky that I've kind of been brought up to kind of connect all of those dots. But it's so hard. Like, life is busy sometimes, and it's just making sure that you prioritize yourself. And I think that can be so easy to say, but so much harder to do in reality sometimes.
So what are the ways that you prioritize yourself?
Well, tonight, for instance, it's been like a really busy couple of months, and I'm so looking forward to tonight. It's just, I love my own company, and I'm quite happy. I don't need to go out all the time, and I know full well tonight is pajamas. I'll make myself a hot water bottle, and I just plan to just chill and put on a face mask and just have a Friday night to myself. But I do exercise, but again, it's to me, exercise is my switch off. I love it, and so I love exercise, and so I get up I exercise probably about 5 times a week, but to me it's my ultimate switch off, and I will really check in. So if I do feel like I've got loads of energy, to me running is everything, and I'll quite happily go for a big run. But equally, if I just know that I need to clear my head, I'll do some Pilates or something. But that to me is my hour in a day that I just love. And just for everything, not just for body, but to just clear my head. I love cooking. To me, it's my ultimate, good food. I have, everyone, all my friends and family have said since I was little, I have a really big appetite, but I don't ever crave rubbish. I crave really hearty, good food. So to me, a night in the kitchen chopping away, that's perfect. And just seeing friends and family, like I said, I've got a really close family. They live 10-15 minutes down the road. Friends, but again, we're all quite similar in the sense that, sometimes we love going out, but and letting our hair down, but mostly girls' nights in are my favourite.
And so, we talked a little bit about culture earlier, and it's kind of around female entrepreneurs. Well, what about culturally, the kind of cultural narratives around periods? What do you think? What would you change about that?
It's such a hard one because it's such a sensitive topic for a lot of people. I think that there's not enough, it's not spoken enough that you don't have to go on the pill. For me, I think that's something that's really pushed. Every single one of my friends, without fail, went on the pill, like straight away. It was just a kind of next step. GP said, let's go. And I am like conscious to like talk about all the different reasons why I believe. I just think that, you know, it doesn't have to be that way. You know, there are other ways to manage different symptoms of period pain, for instance. So I do think that in general, I love all of the movement going on at the moment with all the different businesses that are cropping up to kind of tackle all the period plastic waste. So I love that that's kind of up and coming. I interviewed the founder of Dame, which is the world's first reusable ethical tampon applicator, and then they do like ethical tampons and stuff, because I had no idea. I mean, I don't know why I didn't know, because when you actually think about it, of course, periods create so much pollution when you think about all the different wrapping and how many women there are in the world. But I just think that movement, I could not be more behind it. So I think that needs more focus, and that kind of educating women about the different types of, what would you call them? Menstrual, like what's the word that I'm looking for? Products.
Menstrual products like cups and pads.
Yeah, exactly. All of those, all the different alternatives to just going straight to your bog standard Tampax and whatever brand sanitary towels that you use, that are wrapped in plastic and plastic everything. So I definitely think there can be more done for that. But in general, do you know, I do think that, I don't know if I'm from my own experience, my school was so good at kind of talking through it in a kind of really practical, non-intimidating way. And I can only imagine that, I mean, I was at school, where are we? You know, I went to school in 2003, secondary school. So I can imagine it's only come on even further since then for UK schools. So I don't know. I think that we've got quite, as a society, quite an open approach to, I don't know, you know, when you don't know if I'm just living in a bubble. I feel like, yeah, my school was really good at just, you know, it's matter of fact, just is what it is.
I think that I wish more schools and more parents would be more matter of fact, because we use so many euphemisms, and there's so many things that we don't say about what's normal and what isn't. And I just want to go back to what you said about so many of your friends were on the pill, and that was almost pushed on them. Why do you think that was?
Well, I don't know if it was pushed on them. I think it was just like they came on their periods, they had pains, they went to the doctor put them on the pill. I don't know what the conversation was, but that's basically what happened for every single one of them. And I think that's for the most part of women in the UK, that's how it goes. And it's just, I just think that, you know, I always say I don't want to get into why I believe homeopathy, because I know that, you know, it's so subjective. Everyone, you know, has different beliefs of what they think is right and wrong, but it gets so much stick. And I always say, like, I have never gone to the GP for any symptoms, like for anything in my life. I'm still here. I still feel like I'm healthy, and I've only ever been treated homeopathically. So to me, it works. Like, I don't know. And I just think that it's so kind of detrimental, I guess, to just squash any idea that any alternative medicine, like just rule it out completely without I just think we've all got our own lives. We can all use our brains and research. And I just think that there could be more done in the UK to promote other options. That's all it is. And
really interesting what you said about alternatives and promoting other options. I had an interesting conversation with a female-focused technology company yesterday, and they were saying that in the user research that they've done, the majority of the women that they've spoken to don't want to go onto the pill, and they are looking for alternatives. So they've spoken to thousands of women. So I found that really interesting, and is a kind of, and I see this a lot in my practice, where generally speaking, women generally they don't want to be on hormones. And I've had clients say, I don't want to put artificial hormones into my body. So I think the tide is changing gradually through the movements that you mentioned earlier. And it's really positive.
Yeah, I hope so. To me, it's just a case of like being handed over a box of pills that come with a list of, what's the word I'm looking for? Side effects. Weight gain or bad skin, or like some are like depressive. They can mess with your head, can't they? And I just think like, yeah, there's other options basically. I think that it doesn't have to be like that, and I just think that periods in general, when you're healthy, they don't have to be something that you dread or that cause so much pain. They don't have, I think that, going back to your question, that as well, I wish there was more to be done in the mainstream media that promotes the fact that periods, you don't have to dread your period. Like, it doesn't have to be this scary thing. It's just such a natural, it's just such a natural cycle in your body. Like, just embrace it. But I do think that there's so much about them being this like, oh, it's that time of the month, or like, oh, here we go again. It's mad. And it's so crazy. Was it Heather Watson, the tennis player, that when she finished the match and she lost, and she was being interviewed, and she just said, I didn't play my best today. It's that time of the month, and you just think like, and the amount of uproar that caused, like that this woman had, like a sportswoman, had admitted to being on her period, and it's just like, of course, like, God, exercise is absolutely horrendous when you're on your period. Like, of course she's allowed a bad day, but it was like, God forbid this woman had like voiced the fact that she was feeling off because she'd come on her period. I just think it's mad. Like, it happens to so many women have their periods. It's just mad that it's such a taboo subject sometimes.
Yeah, it is. And I think conversations like this and statements like that help normalize it, and know that definitely. We have to know that like 50% of the planet get a period. So why don't we talk about it? Why don't we learn what's normal and what isn't normal? And you said periods don't have to be painful. And I think that's such an important message. It's normalized, this idea that you have to be either really uncomfortable or in pain or a moody cow. And it doesn't have to be like that.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I mean, sometimes I can be a bit of a moody cow if I'm on. But you have to be. But yeah, no, it's exactly. It doesn't have to be like that.
If you think about your period now and everything we've talked about, what do you wish you knew back then that you know now?
It's so hard. I think like if I could go back to that time at uni, just let myself know that that's not going to be a forever thing. I honestly thought like, God, I've plummeted. Like, I think this is karma for having such easy periods when I was a teenager to suddenly being in so much pain. I'd probably go back and be like, no, just look at what's going on around you. You'll be all right. Like, just sort that out, and then they'll go back to normal. But other than that, like, I do think I've been really lucky with my mum being there to just normalize it and let me know that it is a healthy, I've always had quite a healthy relationship with it. So just that.
And if our listeners could get one message from our interview today about their periods, their menstrual health, what would you want them to take away with them?
That I do think that, that message that they don't have to be painful, you don't have to dread them, and that and to really look at all of the different things, if they are that way, assess what's going on in your life and all the different kind of factors, and just take that like holistic approach and just view all the different things going on in your life, and maybe try and just see if the dots connect there, because I have a sneaky suspicion that they will. So yeah, maybe that.
Where can my listeners find out more about you and what you're up to?
Oh, what she did. Well, where can they? So there's obviously the website, so shecandid.com. I've got the She Can She Did podcast, where I interview any young female founders in the UK about everything they've been through, all the ups and downs of launching, running and growing their businesses. And then also on Instagram, Twitter, just at She Can She Did. I didn't realise I get to plug that. Thanks, Linese. But yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been so nice to speak to you. And thank you for sharing your story.
No, thanks for having me. It's been like therapy. It's been good to kind of chat about it all. Thank you.